The Big Wedding Planning Podcast.
Just a wedding planner, tearing it up. Listen, learn,
Plan that wedding.
Hello, and welcome to the Big Wedding Planning Podcast, a show for anyone involved in planning a wedding. We want you to learn something valuable and be entertained at the same time. My name is Michelle Martinez. Welcome, lovely humans, to another episode. Okay, we have never done a dedicated episode on veils. And so here we are. It's pretty cool after all these years when I can be like, we've never done one of these. So boom, damn, we have something new. I love it. It turns me on. It gets me very excited when we can do something new. Okay, so our guest today is Alicia Jamilian, and Alicia dedicates her time to designing handcrafted wedding veils, bridal capes, and accessories so that you can walk down the aisle looking elegant and feeling special. She quit her job as a paralegal to take her wedding veil business full-time because she believes that every woman deserves to walk confidently down the aisle in a handcrafted heirloom that is theirs to treasure and pass on. Now, Alicia is lovely and she does some amazing work. And I want to take a moment right now to say this episode is very bride-centric, which is something that is, well, we don't ever really normally do. We are not bride-centric around here at the Big Wedding Planning Podcast. You all know that. But in this case, probably, 99.9% of the people wearing a veil identify as she, her, or as a bride. And the name of Alicia's business is One Blushing Bride. There's a lot of you who are going to wear a veil or who might wear a veil. You're on the fence. I've seen some amazing capes lately. Like, I am loving the cape. And of course, I get really turned on when there's color involved in anything on the wedding day. So like any color other than white. So Alicia does traditional veils. You're going to learn everything there is to know about a veil. I mean, you're going to learn the history of where they came from. You're going to hear all the different lengths of veils and the actual names of those lengths. There's a lot of them. The 5 biggest wedding veil mistakes to avoid, and even how to DIY your own wedding veil. So we've got something in here for everyone. We've got non-traditional styles that we're going to be talking about, as well as traditional. We're going to talk about some capes, and there's just so much. I never knew there was so much to talk about with regard to veils and capes and accessories. Oh my. So enjoy this episode. Thank you to our guest, Alicia. Please do check her out on Instagram. Her handle is One Blushing Bride. Her website is oneblushingbride.net. Okay, let's do this. Love your show.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I am the owner and designer of One Blushing Bride, and I create wedding veils and capes.
Hey, Alicia. Thanks for coming on the show and talking all about veils and capes.
Yes, fun stuff. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, when you and I did our onboarding call, because I was kind of like, oh, I hope we can make a whole episode out of this. But then as soon as you started talking, I was like, holy crap. This girl, she knows her veils.
There is surprisingly a lot to dissect when it comes to your veil. It's a detailed process. So absolutely, I could talk for hours, but I'll try to restrain myself.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so Alicia, explain what you do. I mean, because you make these.
I do. I handcraft wedding veils and wedding capes. It's something I've been doing since I can remember. It's such a fun part of the wedding planning process because when a bride puts on a veil, that's the moment when the waterworks come on. That's the moment when mom starts to cry, when the bride starts to cry. It makes it feel very real. So I'm so excited to be able to customize these designs so that brides feel beautiful and feel special, which is so important during the wedding planning process and all the stresses that can come up. It's a happy moment.
So when somebody meets you for the first time, they're just like, what do you do for work? I make veils. Is that what you say?
I can do that, but I think even more than the fact that I make veils, it's helping women feel beautiful and special on their wedding day. And so often brides, you get caught, not just brides, but people in general, you don't feel valued, you don't feel special. And so to be able to customize a piece that is specifically for this person, for their style, for their venue, it is very special. It is a moment where they can feel valued and beautiful. But yes, I do get some shocked looks when I tell people that. And then I try to explain. Some people don't know what a veil is. So,
wow.
Have to, yeah.
That's, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you're not in the wedding
especially guys,
world, why would you know? Okay, so as I was saying, I see things ebb and flow, come in and out. Back in the day, everybody was wearing a veil. It wasn't even a question. Then there was a time when like nobody was wearing a veil. And still, I think a lot of my clients, if I think back the last few years, they were probably 50-50 with veils. But can you start off by talking to us, a little bit about like the history of veils? Is there some history that we should know that you're aware of?
Yeah, well, when you're going back far enough, brides used to wear this to ward off evil spirits. So if you go back far enough in history, that's where it started. We wanted to ward off evil spirits. And there was also the aspect of the fact that a lot of marriages were arranged. So some people also liked the fact that it can kind of cover the bride's face. Sometimes the bride and groom would meet for the first time on their wedding day. So it was almost like you're hiding the goods, you're concealing the goods until you said, I do. But I think there's also just the traditional aspect, especially in Christian communities, Catholic, Jewish ceremonies. It's a big deal. There's a special moment in the wedding oftentimes where it's like the unveiling. So there's a lot of symbolism behind the veil and the unveiling process.
Do you remember the first veil you ever made?
Gosh, I do remember a defining veil. That was one of the first, which was my cousin who was getting married. And she asked me to make her wedding veil. And I was so flattered and honored. And she looked beautiful. Yeah, she looked stunning.
A lot of celebrities recently have been going this very traditional route and wearing veils, like Paris Hilton, Kim Kardashian, Hailey Bieber. So I do see that they're making a huge, kind of comeback almost. Whereas you're probably like, what are you talking about, dude? I've been making veils consistently for like a while.
Well, there's always been the segment of people who are going to wear a veil no matter what. I do agree that they have made a bigger appearance in pop culture recently. And we're not just talking about, small veils. We're talking about like huge veils, brides who are really wanting an entrance. that moment where they open the doors and everyone's like, oh, what are you wearing? So absolutely. And I feel like some of that even has to go back to the UK and the royals, and the fact that a lot of them have been wearing statement wedding veils. Kate Middleton, Meghan Markle.
Definitely. Talk us through the veil lengths, please.
Okay. Yeah. Now that is generally a good place to start, even if you're not sure on style, you're not sure on embellishments. Talking about lengths is generally a good place to begin your veil searching process. You start with the very shortest birdcage wedding veil, which is normally something pretty small that kind of just sleeps over the face. Sometimes this will be out of fabric that's a little bit different than traditional wedding veil fabric. It can be out of something called Russian netting, which is a little bit wider. It has wider holes than traditional veiling. And that's just the cute little ones that go over the face.
Like that reminds me of Jackie Kennedy with her pillbox hat and the little wire over just kind of like the eyes and nose, right?
Yes, exactly. Just over eyes and nose. Sometimes it can go as far as the chin, but typically cute. They're super sweet. They're good for a casual wedding too. Brides are like, hey, I'm having just a small thing with family and a few friends.
It's very vintage feeling.
Very vintage. Absolutely.
I think SJP, Sarah Jessica Parker, has worn that more than once, just like with one of her ensembles, not wedding related.
Yes. It does not have to be just for a wedding. Typically something that's a little bit more formal. It has a very vintage retro vibe. Do
you attach those to hats, or do you create a lot of that size birdcage?
I do. I've seen them come back into style a little bit more in recent years, where people are really going for that, where I didn't see that as much maybe 5 years ago. So that is kind of coming back into the front lines of wedding veil styles.
Wow. So I'm just curious, like if they're not attached to a hat, or what else are they attached to?
Well, typically they'll be attached to a comb. So a small little petite comb, something really little that can be crisscrossed with bobby pins and attached in the hair. So that's the traditional way. However, sometimes brides want to attach to a headband. Yeah. Sometimes they want to attach to a little hat, thinking of the English feeling fascinators. It has that whole vibe where it's like the little pillbox. So those are the traditional ways, but most of them that you see will be attached to a small comb. And and they're great for destination weddings too, because they're so small.
Yes. Or a little getaway. Getaway. If you're doing a little French, little vintage, little Chanel suit with a little birdcage veil. I love that.
Absolutely.
Okay. I love that. Okay. All right. So birdcage, that's the shortest. What's the next?
The next one up from that would be shoulder length. And it literally is exactly what it sounds like. It comes to the shoulders, and it's very also easy, no fuss. A lot of these shorter veils that we're talking about, they're for either destination weddings, or maybe they're for brides who are getting married for the second time. They're like, I've already kind of been there, done that. I want something that still makes me feel like a bride, but doesn't feel fussy. They're also really good for if you're getting married outdoors. So shoulder length would just hit to the shoulders, or sometimes a couple inches past the shoulders.
Oh my God, so cute. Next size?
Next, if you're going a little bit longer, we're going to do an elbow length veil, which is also what it sounds like, hitting to the elbows. This is really great for brides who are wanting to emphasize their waist, because it ends right around the waist. Sometimes they're called waist length veils or elbow veils. The terms are used interchangeably. And I just want to emphasize, don't worry too much about I have to memorize these terms, right? This is just the lingo that people in the bridal industry use, but go with what, hey, I like the way this one looks. You don't have to be all professional in the way you're saying the terms. But elbow length is great. It works well with ball gowns because the ball gowns start to generally go out right where the waist is cinched in, and also works really well. It's really cute with T-length dresses. I've seen it done that way a lot.
Oh, cute. Okay. Elbow length or waist length. Okay. And the next length?
Now, this is fingertip. This is one of my personal favorites, one of the more popular ones besides cathedral length, which is the one that you knew about. Fingertip would be hitting to the fingertips, perhaps a couple inches longer, a couple inches shorter, depending on your personal preference and the lines of your gowns. It's also no fuss. It's very flattering and has a super elongating effect. So I'm a huge fan of fingertip veils. And so are my brides.
And Kate Middleton wore a finger
Absolutely.
tip length.
Absolutely. Kate Middleton had a fingertip length veil. And that was a little bit of it was slightly shocking because typically the royals, they wear the really long cathedral veil. So that was like, oh, wow, what's she doing?
Whoa,
yeah.
What a rebel.
Yeah. She's modernizing. And it was really pretty. And she wore one as well with the layer that goes over the face.
Yeah.
Which can also be called a blusher.
Yes, a blusher. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting. The elbow length and the fingertips, even the next one, I see where you come in as being beneficial of having a custom made veil, because you can buy veils off the rack. You can buy them in stores, but for a person like me, I'm 4'11", like what a fingertip veil or elbow length would be for an average height person would not work for me. So I'm sure that you customizing these get measurements, right?
I do, because it really varies based on, as you mentioned, height. It varies based on your dress even. Like if you have a dress with a ton of fullness, then a veil is going to hit you in a different way than a more slim dress. It can vary based on your shoes that you're wearing. So, and it's an easy measurement to take. It's not like it's too complicated, but we are able to customize it based on personal preference.
Okay, next length after fingertip.
Let's talk about waltz length veils.
The waltz.
Yes. Oh. Also known as knee length veils, typically hitting a couple of inches below the knees. You also hear it called a ballet length veil. And it's a little bit more dramatic than a fingertip while not dragging on the ground, which is so wonderful because brides can move around freely in it. If they want, they can even wear it all the way through their wedding into the reception without taking it off, which is nice.
Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4 more. What's the next one? Wow.
Okay.
See, there's so many.
There are so many. And hopefully, but the general categories are just, do you want a long veil or a short veil?
Right.
That's like that's a great starting point. So when you go with floor length, that's just skimming the floor, maybe 1 or 2 inches onto the ground.
Do people still do blushers with a floor length where it's in front of their face?
Absolutely. They definitely do. It's just a bride. Each bride is different. And a lot
of the blusher a different length though? Would it also go to the floor or would it be shorter?
It would typically be shorter unless a bride is really trying to do something different. Typically the blusher, the layer that goes in the front, would be hitting somewhere around the elbows, maybe to the fingertips.
Okay.
So they are 2 different layers.
Okay.
Yeah, and 2 different lengths.
Okay. All right. So floor length. Okay. And then
let's talk about chapel length veils. So this is like the bride who wanted a cathedral veil, but feels like the cathedral veil is a little too much for her. She's maybe a little more minimalistic. Maybe she has a slightly smaller train to her dress and she doesn't want to go totally crazy. Chapel length veils are really, I've just seen a huge increase in brides wearing them in the past year.
Wow. Okay. Chapel length. Interesting. All right. So it's got to train, right? This is when it starts to drag.
It's dragging on the ground, and typically for about couple feet, 1 to 2 feet. They're normally somewhere around 9 inches in length.
When they start to drag, do they need to be longer than the train on the dress? Is there some sort of a rule for that, or does it matter?
That's a good question. Typically, you will want to see it extend a little bit past the train of your dress, but that's not a hard and fast rule. But you will see most brides wanting their veil to be just a few inches or a little bit longer than the train of their dress. It's a very nice look. It kind of frames everything.
Yeah. Okay. So after chapel, we have
cathedral. I love cathedral length veils. This is the one that you knew about. It's the one that most people are familiar with. And it's the long veil. It's going for the whole shebang. It also has that elongating effect that fingertip length veils have. It's definitely one of the more popular.
Statement. I mean, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's long.
Absolutely. The last one, this is the one that all the celebrities wear. So like, for example, you were mentioning Hailey Bieber, Kim Kardashian. Those were not actually, from photos that I'm seeing, they're not traditional cathedral. They're actually considered a monarch veil. So monarch or royal length veils is the longest that you can go. And that's really making a statement, going super long.
And that's where you have, usually in the royal weddings, you see like little boys or children like carrying almost the veil behind the bride sometimes.
Absolutely. That's their role, to help make sure that you're moving the veil from one place to another. I still recommend having a dedicated bridesmaid or somebody, even if you have a cathedral length veil, just to make sure everything's positioned for photos, and so that you don't have to be worrying about it or thinking about it.
Now that we have been educated on the lengths, okay, I think my veil was elbow length. I'm pretty sure it was elbow length. The 5 biggest wedding veil mistakes to avoid.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Wow, that's a cliffhanger, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there are definitely some things you want to avoid when you're searching for your veil. And the first thing would be to refuse to even try one on. I really think that it's for yourself, and maybe even just for your mom or for somebody else, your grandma, to at least try one on during the trying on process when you're purchasing your dress. Just try one on, see what you think of it, because I have a lot of brides I worked with who say, gosh, I just never thought I was a veil person. I tried one on and I thought I really needed to have that accessory.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So just be open-minded, and it's something that's worth trying on.
I know. Can you imagine? You're like, oh, all right, I'll just try it on. And you put it on. You're like, whoa, I look amazing in this veil.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can really tie everything together and make you feel like a bride.
Well, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I'm just going to take this moment right here to say your veil is not something I've never seen a bride wear a veil all the way till the end of the night. At some point, she takes it off. It's usually after all the photos from the ceremony, maybe after first dance. What do you think about that, Alicia?
It's true. A lot of brides they'll say, oh, I'm only going to wear it for a couple hours. But I'm telling you, there are some brides who purposely decide that they are going to wear their veil for the whole night long, even during the reception. And it's actually really pretty. They'll share their videos with me of them dancing with their groom and like the veil's like swaying. So nothing is impossible. If you like it and if it makes you feel pretty, then why not?
What's the second biggest wedding veil mistake?
I would say The second biggest mistake is choosing your veil before your dress. There's typically an order in how things are easiest done. And if you choose your veil before your dress, there can be complications. The color's not right, the length's not quite right, the embellishments. Start with the dress. That's number one. There are exceptions, and sometimes brides will have a veil that's a family heirloom or an accessory that's particularly important. Maybe her sisters wore it. Maybe it's been passed down for generations to come. So it's not like this is a hard and fast rule, but typically you do want to start with the dress. Start with your dress, and then everything else can kind of fall into place.
Okay, great. Number 3.
Okay, well, I want to make sure that you are securing the veil in your hair the right way and that it's super secure in there. Most veils are attached to small combs, and you will want to crisscross bobby pins on the prongs of the combs so that it doesn't totally fall out while you are walking down the aisle. I would say also that it's nice to be able to bring that to a hair trial if possible, just to make sure that it is staying in there correctly and it's not going anywhere. Let your hairstylist have a trial run of putting it in your hair and practicing.
Very good tips. These are good. Okay. Next.
Okay, how about not choose a veil that complements you. Don't choose a veil that overwhelms you or that's too much, because a lot of brides do have a lot going on already. You've got a dress, you have accessories, jewelry. I am a big fan of something that Coco Chanel said, which is less is more, something along those lines.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly believe that.
Right. Like, again, I would not, a cathedral or a royal length veil would definitely overwhelm my 4'11" stature.
Right. We want something that celebrates your stature, not that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And last, number 5.
I don't want traditions and what people say you should do to dictate your bridal style. So, for example, sometimes I'll have older brides reach out to me and be like, I can't wear this style because it's not appropriate. Or I'll have brides who are getting married for the second or third time, and they're saying, I can't wear this style, even though I really love this style. And this style makes me feel pretty. I can't wear it because people say I can't. Just wear whatever makes you feel beautiful and what makes you feel confident. I think it's important not to let other people's opinions get too mixed up in there. Do what feels good to you.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a great piece of advice with any aspect of the wedding. I think that happens a lot with people who are getting married for the second or third time. Like, I can't wear a veil, like I can't wear a white dress or whatever, like, I think that you should just go with what feels like you, and not do something just because you think you should. Oh, I should not, even though I love that style. No, I can't possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is interesting, how to DIY your own wedding veil. I love this because this is giving or offering up an option for somebody who wants like a really cool DIY project, or, is trying to be budget conscious and save some money. So talk to us about this.
Yeah, I think this DIY approach is really good for the budget wedding or for brides who are needing to save some money. It's not as hard as it may sound. There are options out there that are actually, they don't require a sewing machine even. So I do have some patterns on my website. And the reason that I started offering that was because I was having a lot of brides that I just could not help and could not work with because they had a really, really limited budget. And hey, I totally understand, right? Weddings are expensive. So let's make sure that we're not doing something that's going to put you in a bind. So yeah, I think it's really fun, especially if you have someone you can do it with. It's such a fun project to do with your mom, do with your grandma. I've actually seen a resurgence of these people getting together and working on it as a group, and it ends up being this fun activity. And you're able to say on your wedding day, hey, do you know, like, hey, I made my veil, and get some applause for that.
I love that. So on your website, you actually have patterns if people want to do it themselves.
I do. Absolutely. They're $10.
Oh,
so
that's
very,
great.
Yeah. And I think I have a blog post with some recommended supplies that people can purchase, not from me, but that are for sale for people, like not on the wholesale basis, meaning like I don't want 50 yards of tulle. I'm not a bridal salon. I don't need that much fabric. You're wanting to buy it on an individual basis. So some resources out there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. This is always my favorite subject, but non-traditional wedding veil styles. Let's talk about this. The first one is my fave.
Oh my gosh, gotta celebrate the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you're getting married doesn't mean it has to be white or it has to be ivory. We're seeing a lot of blush is probably the most common colored veil design.
I love
but
that.
You're also seeing a lot of blue, and then that will be there's something blue. But really, like, the sky's the limit. There any color that you think looks good on you, and that's a fun pop. Maybe you can even do something that's an ombre design. Maybe it starts white, and then at the end, there's a surprise color. So yeah, add that color and don't be afraid of it.
What's the loudest color that you've created for someone?
Oh gosh, that is quite a question. I think that probably it was this really, really bright pink, not a blush. Like this was, I don't even know how you would describe
it. Fuchsia?
It was kind of fuchsia, and that thing was bold. It had tons of beading all over it. So it wasn't just the color. Between the color and the beading, it was like, woo, that is a statement piece.
I love that. What was her dress like? Do you know?
It was traditional.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes brides will fall in love with a more traditional look. And then when they're going for their veil, they're like, I didn't get to add this in. Right now I'm working with a bride who fell in love with an ivory dress. It looks beautiful on her. And she had really wanted a black dress before she said yes to this dress. But she just knew that this was the dress for her. So we're going to make her a black veil.
No.
And yeah, no joke. It's a big thing, the black veils. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. What is it? I mean, is it going to be... See, when I think of black veil, I think of like the Corpse Bride or like Halloween or something. But I'm sure it doesn't look Halloween-y.
Yeah, well, some brides, purposely wanting... I have had brides who are like, okay, I'm really into the goth scene, or it's brides actually getting married on Halloween or around that time. But this one's not that way. This one has black just on the trimmings.
Oh,
so it's
cute.
it's very pretty. It's just a subtle contrast.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I like veils that have like a thick, like satin trim around the bottom. I love that pretty. Look, actually.
Yeah. Satin ribbon. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So color, that's the first non-traditional wedding veil style. What's the next?
Something that has writing on it, which was made popular by Hailey Bieber. She had the Till Death Do Us Part wedding veil. And gosh, that got a lot of attention. And ever since then, we're seeing brides who are wanting maybe their initials, their her and her fiance's initials, or their new married last name, or their wedding date that's actually hand embroidered onto the veil. It ends up looking really delicate and unique, and it's not something that people have seen a lot.
It's not you writing something on it, you are embroidering.
That's correct.
Letters into the lace or the whatever the fabric.
Absolutely. So it's in the embroidery process, which you need to search around a little bit because it does require specialty machinery and stabilizing fabric because you're working on tulle, which is really soft and delicate. So there's a little bit of a process that goes into doing that. But ever since Hailey Bieber, people have been really going for the style.
That's what I was going to ask you. So is it typically almost always tulle that you're using as the kind of base for the veil?
That is most popular bridal illusion tulle, which is different than the standard tulle that you'll see in maybe Joann's fabric. So it is finer than like thinking of a ballerina skirt type tulle. It's not like that. It's more fine. But then there are other options. English net is really popular. It has a denser weave. It's a little bit of a finer fabric. It has a more vintage feel, and it's a little bit less see-through. So that's an option. Then you have silk blend options. There are a lot of options out there, but the most popular is the bridal illusion tulle.
Okay. And then what is number 3 for non-traditional?
Well, I am seeing a lot of long veils, cathedral veils, now that you guys all know your terminology, paired with short dresses.
What?
It's such a fun look. I remember when I saw it for the first time, I was like, wow, that is so unique. It is really a fun look to play up that difference in length. It's just so much fun. I want to wear it.
Oh, that's really cool. I'll have to look for. Do you have photos of these, by the way?
I do. I have photos of all of them. So.
Okay, good. I want to see. Okay. Number 4.
Let's talk about something called a barely there veil, also known as a very minimalist style of veil. This is so sheer. You're seeing a lot of modern brides who want to wear a veil in this. It's super sheer. There's no gathering up at the top. You know how the more traditional veil has gathering up by the comb where it's in the hair. Yeah. This is super sheer. Like you hardly even know something's there. It's really a romantic, ethereal, whimsical look. So just Google barely there veil and you'll see tons of options.
Barely there veil. Okay. Okay. Next.
I love a good bow. So we're seeing a lot of bow veils, which is a really preppy look. Sometimes the bows can be detachable. So they're typically attached at the top of the comb where the veil is sitting in your head. But, sometimes the bow could be detachable and you can just wear the veil without it. But bows are so feminine and I'm really seeing a lot of them.
I love that. Okay. And the last one we have here.
Absolutely. How about a cape? I am seeing capes in lieu of a traditional wedding veil. And a cape obviously would attach at your shoulders, and it has almost a goddess sort of feel about it. Some of them can be designed to attach in the hair and it'll drape down the back, called a draped cape veil. So it's kind of a merger of the two, but we're seeing a lot of brides who are wanting a cape instead of the traditional veil. I'm also seeing a lot of the capes done with a celestial feel to them. A lot of brides having a celestial themed wedding. And so the cape really kind of brings that in. It feels goddessy and celestial.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. The queen, the goddess. So yeah, I do love capes and I've seen it a lot. And I actually see it a lot during, or I guess the most popular I've seen, and maybe it's not even a cape. Maybe it's more of a wrap. Is it more of a wrap when it's like fur or like fuzzy? Cause it's like winter wedding.
Yes, absolutely. It's really good to add that extra warmth. So sometimes you'll see the faux fur, or you'll see something that's almost like a velvet or a suede, something that has a little bit of a texture to it.
Yeah, so pretty.
Yeah. Knit pieces are big too when it comes to like wraps, and you're talking about over wraps.
Yeah.
Doing a really soft mohair wrap is just so gorgeous.
So tell us about, this is one thing that I did a call out for on Instagram once because someone was talking to me about, what are the things you have to do after the wedding? And this came up in our conversation for this podcast episode, and that was how to preserve your wedding dress and veil. But you even went into, care of the veil pre-wedding, but I guess, I'm doing this backwards a little bit. So let's start with pre-wedding care for your veil.
Well, I'd say that most brides are ordering their veil at least a couple months out. Sometimes they'll order it when they're purchasing their dress. So you're going to have your veil on hand for at least a significant period of time. I would say when you get your veil, first try it on, make sure you're kind of liking it. And then I would hang it up over a hanger. And the reason I like brides to do this is because it's just more safe. It can be put in its own garment bag, and that keeps it totally protected for those months. And you can put it in any climate control room. So just as long as it's not, 90, 100 degrees in that room, it'll be good to go. And just keep it in that garment bag as you're taking it to fittings, as you're taking it to hair trials. Just keep it in the garment bag, its own separate garment bag, separate from your wedding dress, because a lot of the issues I've run into are veils being in the same bag as the wedding dress and getting caught. So just have your own separate garment bag for your veil. It's easy enough.
Love that. Temperature controlled room is also important. Yeah. And then you can take it with you, right?
Yeah, you can take it with you. And I highly recommend that. Take it to your alterations appointment so you can try it on. It can impact just different ways that everything comes together. Take it with you to your hair trial.
Yes.
And try it out. And just
I feel like that's a big one, because there's always the question of like, where should the comb go? Am I going to have my hair up? Am I going to have it down? Where should the comb go into what part of the back of my head? You know what I mean? Like there's always that question.
Absolutely. Because the veil and the hairstyle are undeniably connected. What you choose for one aspect will impact the other. So it's all in the way they combine together. So you might as well have it with you.
And steaming is just how you get those wrinkles out. And they happen. Those wrinkles happen.
It will happen not just in the shipping process, but even just hanging over that hanger for a period of time. It will have some wrinkles. I'd say a couple of weeks before your wedding, actually take it out, have it thoroughly steamed, or you can do that yourself. I don't recommend ironing because the fabric is very delicate and it typically will just melt. Yeah. So steaming is much safer. And if you don't feel, most people have a handheld steamer.
You should have one, people. You should really invest in one. Yeah. It's just good to have one at home too, but to have it on your wedding day is huge.
Yes. For the dress too. And yeah. Bridesmaids dresses, all of that. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can have alterations places will typically just do that real fast.
Okay. So let's talk about what happens after the wedding date. I mean, if you're so I've talked about this, I guess not at too much length, but the wedding gown itself, your dress is friggin' thrashed. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is thrashed, but I guess your veil is probably not thrashed unless it's like a cathedral length. There's, it's not going to be dragging all over the ground, but what do you need to do? I know about preserving wedding dresses. Do you need to preserve the veil as well or have it cleaned?
Yeah, you do, even if you don't see noticeable stains. If this is something that you're wanting to pass down for generations to come, which a lot of brides are, then you do need to have it professionally cleaned. I recommend having it done as soon as possible after your wedding. I'm not saying you have to say your I do's and then go straight to the preservation place. But as soon either, someone that taking it there and getting it done, because time is of the essence. You don't want stains to set in, even things that you don't see. So it's going to preserve better if you do it sooner. And most most places where you're having your dress preserved will actually have that as a service too, where they include the veil in the preservation process.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, there's stains that you don't see, but they do set. And like I've seen old veils come out of like cedar chests, and they have this, like, parts of it have this yellowy tint or this weird spot where they didn't realize it actually got dirty. And then over time that just kind of progressed into something.
Absolutely. My grandma's dress and veil, it was all, I don't know what happened in that preservation, but some stuff got missed. And some people are like, gosh, I just can't afford to have this professionally preserved. There are options out there that if you do a Google search, you can have a DIY approach to doing it yourself. And typically they'll ship you some acid-free tissue paper and different things that are more preservation friendly to be storing your veil in over time. But at the very least, you want to spot treat it with something gentle, like a baby wipe or something like that.
I see, and I love this, like, beadwork on the veils. Like there's one on your website right here called Elegance. And it looks like it's almost like a hair. I don't know. It's like a beautiful, is it a hair? Does it attach to her hair also? Is that like a big barrette, or is it?
Yeah. So I think what you're looking at is the Juliet style of veil.
Yeah.
This is very, once again, we're going vintage, very 1920s. It's basically a cap style of veil that attaches and cradles your head. It's very 1920s, very Great Gatsby.
Yes.
A lot of times there will be beading. Sometimes there'll be lace up at the cap. Oh gosh, a celebrity, I think it was Kate Moss, wore this style of veil. I could be wrong. I have to double check, but I think she did. And it's very glamorous, very vintage feeling.
Oh,
and it's kind of like a headpiece and a veil in one.
Yeah. And it looks good with your hair up or down. So pretty. So talk about just quickly your process and how this works. I mean, you have a store, so you have some that are already made that people can buy, or are they all customized?
Almost all of them are customized, but I do have some of the most popular ones that are made up and ready to go. So typically brides who are on a time crunch will go with one of the ones that I already have made up. But the process isn't too crazy. Typically brides will share photos of their wedding dress with me. That's typically number one. The next step would be I would ship samples of the color options to you, because most likely your dress isn't white, even if you think it is. That's what I found. 90% of the dresses that are sold these days are not white. They're like an off-white. They're an eggshell. They're something
interesting.
Silk white.
Yeah, you have to like match the white of the dress.
Yes, absolutely. You don't really want something clashing. And typically you'll want it to match exactly, or to be one shade lighter. So you just don't normally want it to be like a lot darker.
Unless it's black.
And then there are no rules.
I love it. I love the play of color. It just always excites me. And I know there's also been some almost embroidery in some of these veils of color on the white, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's a little bit more of a delicate way to incorporate the color. You'll have some embroidery, maybe in a really light blue, in a blush, or in something that's gold that has gold or silver metallics to it. And that's really subtle, not to color without being bam in your face. Wow, you're wearing something colored.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a fun photo prop. It really is. Like photographers.
Yeah, they love the embroidered ones, especially, right? Somebody has their dog. That's so cute.
Yeah. This is a special dog. You can have your dog custom embroidered onto your wedding veil in a small little patch. It's very sweet to honor a special pet.
It's awesome. Very good. This is so good, Alicia. I love all of this information. I appreciate you coming on and being a guest. Please give all of your information. And I think there's some resources on the website too that would be beneficial to those listening.
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me on too. And I really do appreciate it. It's been fun. And I so enjoyed talking about this and nerding out on it. So thank you for indulging.
Of course.
But on my website, you can actually grab your style guide that I emailed to you, which is talking about some of the things to do with your wedding veil, some of the things not to do with your wedding veil. Just a really good resource. I also have the option on there to ship you some free samples if you're just wanting to see what are some of the colors and does this match my dress. And I will ship those out to you so that you can see the most common options. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the website again is oneblushingbride.net. Just one blushing bride. There might be two blushing brides, but the website is one, ONE, blushingbride.net. And there's so many awesome photos and stuff for sale, or you can have Alicia. Is it Alicia or Alicia?
It is Alicia, but
okay.
Yeah, no worries.
You can also have Alicia custom make a veil for you. I love this. I love. Thank you again. This is fantastic. Also on Instagram, you're One Blushing Bride, and on Facebook, everything's One Blushing Bride for Alicia.
It's always One Blushing Bride and spelled out without the number. Yes. So you can find me on all the normal social media platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you do contact Alicia, make sure you tell her you heard her on the Big Wedding Planning podcast. You got to tell her. Okay. Bye.
The Big Wedding Planning Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Michelle Martinez.